like sweating the whole time, sitting there. People are talking, and I'm sitting there going, I'm standing. I got fake this, fake that, fake. Everything is fake, and I'm about to walk in and get my picture fucking taken. And there's a sheriff standing right there. They always have like a sheriff's deputy sitting
at the front desk.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, this is so bad.
At the front desk.
And then they're like, Mr. Johnson.
And I don't know about you, but I'm thinking about my exit strategy too. I'm thinking if something goes wrong, they take too long. Do I just walk this way? Do I go this way? Which way can I go?
Yeah, how can I run? How far will I get? Where's my car?
Yeah. So I basically left the state after that. Went to a whole different state. I think I went to Nevada. I went to Las Vegas actually.
Right.
Was in Las Vegas for a little bit. Funny thing is, I was out there and I started hanging out with this girl that was out there who was also on the run.
How do you find people on the run so easily? This is the second person you mentioned that was also on the run.
I don't know. I guess it's
I never met anybody on the run when I was on the run.
I guess it's what you're attracted to. I don't know what it was, but I was staying at this place actually because Vegas, there's a lot of hotels, whatever. So they have weekly hotels. I'm staying in a weekly hotel, and she's there with her mom, and she's on the run too from some probation violation from a different state. I don't remember exactly. So we're in the car one day. She's driving around, and next thing you know, cops go to pull her over. They pull her over. Now, I don't have my ID or driver's license on me. I throw mine away or whatever the hell it is. They pull her over. Now, she didn't know my real name. Thank God. I told her a fake name. I don't remember what I told her because this is the part where I got to start giving people fake names.
Right.
So the cop takes her, gets ready to has her in handcuffs. They're questioning me, asking why I don't have a driver's license on the strip of Las Vegas. Like why I'm like making up some story. I don't remember. I lost it in some casino. I don't remember. So anyway, they end up letting me go. And then from there, I'm thinking, I got to get a name. I got to figure out what to do, this and that. So I end up jumping on a Greyhound bus and going all the way to the East Coast, pretty much. And that was how I ended up on this side of the, of America. So I ended up taking a bus going to the East Coast. I think I went to, New York first. I think it was New York. So I ended up going there, and then I started thinking about how am I going to get a name. So the funny thing is, me and you have something similar when it came to the whole name thing about, remember how you say how you got yours from like the homeless people or whatever it was. So mine was kind of similar, but a little different or whatever. I didn't go around, I didn't ask them the questions, but what I would do was I would basically, I was very good at scoping people out, very good at that. So I would scope somebody out and I'd be like, all right, looks like they're not doing much with their life.
Right.
They're not doing much. What if they'll let me pay them to basically, let me, use their name? So I would try and figure out a way I was always a hustler. So I would hustle up some money, sell what I could. Hey, I'll pay you this much money if you just pretty much, let me get your birth certificate. I promise not to get in trouble, anything else. If I do, I get arrested, you can always say that wasn't me because I have a mugshot. I stole your stuff. So most people have nothing else going for them. Like, sure, yeah. So, they took some money to this and that. So that was how I started living. So I started, taking different names, doing that. I would have a backup every time.
But once you get once you got the name or the birth certificate, like, did you go get an ID in that person's name?
Yeah. So I figured out which states didn't connect driver's license or which states didn't have to do fingerprints for.
Right.
So I would go to a state that didn't connect with this state. You didn't live in this state, and just go get a driver's license under that person's name. Now I'm legit, and that's what all I would do. So, there's a couple states out there. I don't know if it still is. It was a while ago, but they just didn't connect.
No, there's still, it's a hub system. So they have to request the photos from other states.
Yes.
So it's not like you could pull up the information from another state, but you can't necessarily pull up the photos from another state. Yeah. So same thing with the fingerprints. Even if you went and got fingerprinted in Georgia, they don't run the fingerprints. They just keep them online. They just keep them in their system. They're not running them like, hey, those don't match up with you. You're a felon. None of that happens. They use it for identification purposes if they need it, if there's an issue. Mm-hmm. But there's only like 10 or 15 states that even have fingerprints.
Yeah, and California is one of them because that's where I originally got my driver's license from.
Georgia does.
Yeah, and I know here they don't.
No.
Carolinas don't. So I've had to find out which states because I was scared of my fingerprint because I didn't know what if it tracks. So I was like, let me go to the states where they don't have fingerprints.
How about going in the DMV, sitting there with all that fucking shit and going up to the guy, like sweating the whole time, sitting there. People are talking, and I'm sitting there going, I'm standing. I got fake this, fake that, everything is fake, and I'm about to walk in and get my picture fucking taken. And there's a sheriff standing right there. They always have like a sheriff's deputy sitting
at the front desk.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, this is so bad.
At the front desk.
And then they're like, Mr. Johnson.
And I don't know about you, but I'm thinking about my exit strategy too. I'm thinking if something goes wrong, or they take too long, do I just walk this way? Do I go this way? Which way can I go?
Yeah, how can I run? How far will I get? Where's my car?
Yeah. So, and I remember getting that first ID. She came back, and I'm like, yes. Oh my God, yes. Walking out, I'm looking.
It's so pretty. Aren't they so fucking pretty?
Oh yeah.
It's like the prettiest thing I'd ever seen. It was like, it's like, this is beautiful.
Yeah. So, I'm like, so then I started thinking, I'm like, so I got a new name. What am I gonna do? I'm not gonna go and resort back to the stuff I was doing. I'm not gonna do like crime. I'm not gonna do that.
I can't get fingerprinted.
Yeah, so I can't risk going back to jail because now I go back to jail. I already, have one escape charge. I left the halfway house, and in Colorado, they changed that. They automatically give you an escape charge even for leaving halfway house. So now we'll have 2 escape charges. Right.
What is it now? Absconding?
Yeah, now it's absconding. They changed it actually, and we'll get into that when it got changed too, because it just recently happened actually. Dealing with me. So now I got another escape charge, and I'm like, great. Now it's going to triple. I'm looking at 12 years just for that one charge. So I'm like, I can't risk it. So I'm like, what am I going to do? So I ended up, getting a regular job. I'm working at a restaurant, serving, bartending a restaurant, doing great, this and that. Oh, so I'm like, epiphany hits me one day, and I'm like, if my son was still here, how would I want him to live? I want him to go to school. I want him to be the best he can be. He's not here anymore, so let me do what he couldn't do. I want to go to school. How am I going to go to school? So I ended up going to New York City. Not going to say the country yet, whatever. So I ended up going to New York City, walking into this country's basically like their embassy or whatever the hell it is. And
it's an embassy.
Yeah,
they have an embassy.
So I walk in there, and I got my fake stuff. So basically I let them know that I want to go, have residence in your country or a visa to go to school. And they start asking you questions like, why, this and that. I'm like, well, I heard that, your education system is great. I'm just blowing smoke up their ass.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, if you can come back, they set a date for me to come back. So I go back. I'm in there for about a couple hours, walk out with a visa to go to that country. Oh man, I'm thinking to myself, what else can there's so much stuff that I can do, that you wouldn't think about doing, and right. I'm like, I'm on a run and this and that. So I end up going to that country, and when I get to that country, it dawns on me, how am I going to go to this college? I don't have any transcripts. I don't have any of that or whatever, right? So get online, find those places that you can buy transcripts and things like that,
right.
So I buy transcripts. End up going to this college or university, whatever they call it up there. It's different, a little different up there, where I went, and end up going there. And the next thing you know, they're asking my transcript. So I'm wondering like, hope this works. Oh, you've been accepted. Oh, great. We need you to pay this fee. Oh, shit, I don't have this much money. So end up finding like there's some sort of loopholes into that. Found a loophole to where they can pay for half my schooling, all kind of things. End up going to schooling, end up graduating actually, and got a business management degree out of it. Went to school for 3 years and graduated out of that, and working, doing a normal life, and was everything else I was doing, even paying taxes where I was at, living like a normal citizen. At this point, in my head, I think I really had to think and forget about everything I went through at that time, so I can not have nightmares at night of being stalked or dream. Because I would have I couldn't sleep sometimes. Somebody's gonna knock on my door and arrest me. Because this is maybe especially after 3 years later down the road. So I spent about another year in that country, doing pretty good. So my visa's up. I have to leave. So I don't want to get in trouble in another country. I don't know what the charges are going to be for that. And I'm like, great, I have to leave the country. My visa's up because I don't know if immigration's going to be looking for me or whatever it is. So I had a relative of mine he changed his name. And he goes, hey, I changed my name. How about you take my old name? I'll give you everything and you can move back. You don't have to worry about nothing because it's my old name, He goes, only thing I didn't change is my social or whatever. But he's like, I'm not doing much. My credit sucks anyway. I'm not doing anything with it. It sucks. I pay for everything cash. But you can take my old name or whatever. So he went to court, legally changed his name. But he still has his birth certificate and everything from the old name. So I take it, end up leaving, coming back here actually. And funny thing is, when I get to border, going to the country is a piece of cake. Coming back, I was at the border for 4.5 hours.
Yeah, coming in the U.S. is an issue.
Yes, they took apart everything I had, everything to make sure I wasn't transporting drugs. I remember I had an old Xbox. They took it apart. Didn't even put it back together, all kind of stuff. So end up getting through that, and I'm like, whew. And I'm in upstate New York at the time. Go to New York City because I was familiar with New York City, because I was there the first time, living there for a little bit. And then at this time, I get my relative's name, change my name to his old name. So end up moving here. I moved here to Florida. I think it was 11 years ago, actually, 2011 or something like that is when I moved here. So yeah, 11 years ago is when I moved here. Moved here to Florida, moved here under that name that I was going by, and met a bunch of friends. I'm a normal guy, met a bunch of friends and stuff like that. And this is when I was selling cars, actually. So a lot of my friends I have now were in the car business. I started selling like for Ford, Nissan, Acura, Mitsubishi, because I was a good salesman. Started selling cars, so I'm making pretty good money at that. Then from there, I started getting into DJing or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I can make really good money at DJing. And I just kind of fell into it by accident. So I'm making this money, and I actually end up meeting the person that I'm with now or whatever. She doesn't know anything. None of my friends know anything. I have all these friends close. Nobody knows nothing about me whatsoever.
Right.
Because I didn't want to, say anything. Because if I say something, if somebody says the wrong thing, gets interrogated, I'm done. Yeah. I didn't want to risk that. I also didn't want to put other people in trouble too. I didn't want to have like all these harboring a fugitive. I didn't want them to get in trouble for that or any of that. So I was like, if I go down, I'm gonna go down because of me, not nobody else. So end up meeting this woman. We get pregnant. We have a kid. We have our daughter. We get married. Everything. Start a couple businesses. All kind of life is great. Pretty much, it is fantastic. We're doing good. We got a big 2-story house, brand new cars, living in a nice neighborhood. Got employees. So at this time in my head, I've gotten so used to living in another person's name. I think I literally believed I was the other person. You know what I mean?
Like you've got it licked.
Yeah, I got it right.
Licked. I'm not. You don't even feel wanted anymore. I get pulled over. The cops would be behind me, hit the fucking lights, and all I'm thinking is, am I gonna get a ticket? Like I'm not even thinking they're gonna recognize me. I was so used to it. So I had that I had everybody fooled. I felt good.
Yeah.
It was so far in your in the back of your mind that. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. And I can only imagine having gone, at this point, how long had you been on
this? Was just about 15 years, actually. This is 15 years at this point. So it's been so long that, like I said, I literally blocked a lot of things out. And I think I did that on purpose so I can live how I was living, as a normal person. I wanted to be as normal as I could be, and be a regular person, a citizen. Right. I didn't want to be this, oh damn, this guy's, because people start hearing fugitive, they think you just murdered thousands of people. They just assume things. Yeah. I would drive, have cops behind me. I wouldn't be nervous or nothing. I roll my window down and go, hey. The funny thing is, I actually DJ'd a wedding for a cop. And he had a bunch of cops there, and DJ'd a wedding for him and everything. And I wasn't nervous at all. I was like, let me go DJ the wedding, make the money. What are they going to do? They're not going to suspect anything.
Right.
So, I mean, like I had friends in all kind of different places that didn't know. I was actually one of the businesses I got into, we talked a little bit about this on the phone, was mobile homes. Start buying mobile homes and renting them out and, rent to own. The guy who taught me that, he's a multimillionaire. He had no idea. you know, and he knew he's meeting me. He's introducing me all these other millionaires. They have no idea. So I'm just want to live like a regular person and pretty much be like them,
Right.
you know, whatever. But yeah, so me and my wife open up businesses and everything's fine and dandy. And one day, I get approached by a cop, actually. State trooper is at the house, and I'm not thinking nothing of it. I'm thinking maybe somebody got in trouble. And, you know, cops questioning me. He's like, "Can I get your license? What's your name? Such and such." And I'm like, "For what?" So at this point, I'm thinking I'm invincible or whatever. So
Yeah.
I give him my license. He goes, "Come over to the cop car." So I start seeing these unmarked cars come. There's like 4 of them. They're unmarked. Just a guy comes out, regular tie. Some of them don't say who they are. So I'm like, they're all law, but I don't know what parts of the law.
Right.
So he goes, "Do you know this guy?" Opens up a file. It's my relative. So I look at the picture and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know him." He goes, "You sure you don't know him?" I go, "No, I don't know him." He go, "We believe you probably assumed his old name. He changed his name or whatever." And I'm like, "I don't even know who that guy is." He goes, "Well, you know, we're going to take you to jail for, I don't remember what the hell it was, for giving a false ID or something like that." And I'm like, what do you mean? Da, 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 da. So anyways, they end up handcuffing me. I didn't even know they had this. They can fingerprint you right there on the spot now. They have equipment to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. They like a scanner, right?
Yeah, so
So you just put your hand on it or just your thumb?
Your thumb.
Yeah.
So they fingerprint me on the spot.
Damn.
Nothing comes up.
Are you serious?
They did it. They were in front of the house for a good hour, fingerprinting me 9 different times. Nothing came up. They're so frustrated. They did the good cop, bad cop routine with me. They had the bad, "You can go to jail for this and that. You're going to be marked as a John Doe in jail," and you sit there and ride. I'm thinking like, that's not going to happen, whatever. So then they put me in another guy's car. First thing he does, he turns on XM and turns on rap music. First thing he does, and he's singing the lyrics to the song, and I'm looking at him like, "Seriously, for real? You think that's whatever?" So he's like, "Yeah, so where you from?" And he's trying to get, you know, and I'm playing along. I'm like, "Yeah, you know, playing along, you know." I'm like, "Yeah, we can both play this game. I sold cards, buddy. I can sell water to a well." So he's like, and then he starts getting to a serious question. "So who are you?" I'm like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "Well, who are you?" He goes, "You're not going to tell us who you are?" I'm like, "You know who I am." That's all I kept saying. "You know who I am." I didn't tell them the fake name or anything. I just kept saying, "You know who I am," or whatever. "You know who I am." "No, we don't." "Yeah, you do." "Oh, I don't know. Tell you if you don't know who I am. We're going to take you to jail." So eventually, it ended up taking me to jail. Took me to jail. They booked me. The charge was when you go to DMV and get a false license is a word. I can't remember. You can probably Google it. Probably come up. It's here in Florida, actually. So they booked me on that charge and a couple other misdemeanors or whatever. And the bond was like really low, like $3,000 or something like that or whatever. So of course I'm thinking like, I'm not going to be in here that long. So they're like, "Yeah, you're going to be screwed, buddy, when we go to fingerprint you and booking," you know? So they fingerprint me, do the handprint and all that. Nothing comes back.
I said, nothing came out the first time. What's going to come out?
Nothing comes back. So I'm sitting there, and the guy that's in the tie, he's talking with like the sergeant of intake over here, and they're pointing at me, and I'm looking at them like, okay, whatever. So I'm on the phone with, you know, my girl, and she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna get you out." Da, 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 da.
She's still thinking it's all bullshit.
Yeah,
Like
she doesn't really know everything that's going on, whatever. Still, so she bonds me out, gets me out, and when she gets me out or whatever, I still really don't tell her everything. So now I'm thinking in my head, how am I going to tell her everything or whatever? Because at this point, we've been together for about a good 4 years too. So it's been a while. We have a baby together and everything. So I'm like, how am I going to tell her, explain to her all this stuff that's happened? And she's with a friend of hers that bonded me out too at the same time. So I'm like, how am I going to tell both these people, you know, what's going on?
They're right.
Yeah.
They actually.
Yeah, they're right. And this is what's going on. How am I going to explain it? She going to tell me, go back to jail? They're going to, what am I going to do? So I'm sitting here thinking about what am I going to do? So I get a call, and the call is from that same cop. He goes, "Hey, just to let you know, they weren't supposed to bond you. You weren't supposed to have a bond. Jail messed up."
Yeah.
So
But I do.
Yeah.
And I'm out.
Yeah, so,
Are you out already?
Yeah, I'm out.
Oh, nice.
I just got home. So they called me 3 hours later or 2 hours later, something like that. It was really quick. And he goes, "You weren't supposed to have a bond." and they gave you a bond. They weren't supposed to let you out of jail, really. They were supposed to keep you in until we figure out who you were. But they messed up, and the shift change happened or whatever, and I got out during shift change or whatever. So that's how I got out. So he goes, so let's let you know, we know where you are, but we're going to give you a chance to redeem yourself, whatever it is. So I'm like, man, what am I